Today we're going to be covering the new BT11 BlackWargreymon build. This deck is really good for being able to control the board. This deck is good at protecting itself from being deleted. Bottom deck to remove the hand. So let's get right into it. First off, we're going to be running 4 of the BT5 Coromon. The reason being, we're going to be able to draw a whole lot with this card. And being able to find pieces in this build is crucial because this is a stack build deck. We want to make sure we find our pieces as fast as possible. So Coromon BT5 is the way to go. We're also running one of the Coromons from BT9. This is the Coromon that gives you 1000 buff if you're Agumon or Greymon. You might be able to need that 1000 buff depending on what matchup you're having. Maybe it's a mirror match. Being able to swing over something and get that extra 1000 really comes in handy. So running a one of that feels good. Moving on to the level 3s, we're going to be running 4 of the BT8 Agumons. This one's good for the reason that it's now turning into a more black-based style because we're having more black-based level 4s. Being able to use the on-play effect with the reveal top 4 is the strongest it's ever been for the reason that we have more level 6s to look for. Being a Flex Evo color is also really nice too. Next up, we're going to be running 4 of the promo Agumons that give you the 2000 buff here if you're a Greymon. This is just another crucial card. Just being able to swing over bodies. Agumon is a staple in this deck, and so we don't see any other reason not to run a playset of 4 of these. Next, we're going to be talking about the Agumon X Antibody from BT9. This card is really good for the reason that it can Evo off of any of these Agumons for 0, and it also has an on-play when Digivolving effect. So if you push up that Agumon, Evo into this X Antibody, you get to draw for that Evo and trigger the reveal top 3, adding more X Antibody cards, more Greymon cards to your hand, which is very, very crucial. On the level 4s, we're going to be talking about 4 of the BT8 Greymons. This is one of the cards you kind of want to find early to be making sure you have blocker in your stack. Being able to have blocker is crucial because this was going to allow your opponent to swing into you, and just being able to take that block is pretty nice. It's a 2 Evo. It can Evo off of red or black, which makes it even better, and it's got 6k DP, which is also very strong for a level 4. Next, we're going to be talking about the BT11 Greymon. We're running a playset of this one for the reason that it has a really strong inheritable effect. If you have X Antibody in this stack, you can trash that card to protect it from dying or being bottom decked or returned to hand, which is nice. It also is good because if you push up with this card from your egg area and Evo into your level 5, you can reduce the Evo, which is even more helpful to keep your turn alive potentially, or just get that extra memory that you need to pop off in your combos. And then our final 2 cards for our level 4 lineup is going to be the Security +1 Greymons from the starter deck. The reason why we're running 2 of these is because we like to go aggro for mojo here. At least I like to be a little bit aggressive. In some matches, you might be a little bit behind, and getting that extra security swing might be the reason of you winning or losing. This Greymon still has an important place in this build. Being able to go aggro or being able to go control-y, giving yourself that option is really important. Next, we're going to be talking about the level 5s here of the BT8 Metal Greymons here. This card is very strong for the reason that it can Digivolve and pop something 3000 or less on your opponent's side of the field. And the inheritable is just busted. Being able to swing over your opponent's unsuspended Digimon is the reason why you can win games to where your opponent has no way of catching up to you when you get to that point. And so it just makes it for a better spot in this lineup, and it is 8k DP, which is really strong. Next, we're going to be talking about the BT11 Metal Greymon X Antibody card. This one evos off of 1 from a Metal Greymon, which is not the best, but it's also not the worst either, considering that the when Digivolving effect is really solid. You can basically keep yourself from being de-Digivolved and getting your DP reduced. Let's say you're going into the mirror match. You go off of this Metal Greymon, you can't be de-Digivolved. That's pretty helpful. If you go against any of the yellow builds that like to minus your DP, this is really helpful. And this will last until the end of your opponent's turn, which is going to be when they're going to be using these effects. So that protects you. The inheritable effect is even better. It's so good because this one says when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, you can trash the top of your opponent's security stack, which is just icing on the cake. Who doesn't like trashing your opponent's security? And then for the last spot in our level 5 lineup is actually going to be the Metal Greymon X Antibody from BT9. The reason why we're running this card is because we get that Sec +1 and that 3000 buff until the end of your opponent's turn, which can come in handy in case you need to use it. Now we're going into the level 6 lineup. We're going to be talking about the 3 BlackWargreymons from BT8. This one is red and black, evos off of any of the Metal Greymons that we talked about previously. and being able to pop something with a play cost of 6 or less, either a Tamer and or Digimon that add up to 6. That pretty much takes care of either 1 or 2 Tamers. Maybe you could pop one of their cool boys and their 4-drop Tamer, or popping one of the strong secret rares that are coming out in this set. Being able to unsuspend if you pop a Digimon is strong too. So you swing, unsuspend, swing. If you pop the combo with X Antibody underneath it, you can then evo into the next cards that we're going to be talking about, which is 2 Agumon right here. Agumon is going to be able to get Blitz, D-Digivolve, Sec +1, and Reboot. It's just like a level 7 boss monster without the level 7 title to it. It's really strong. It's really aggressive in case you need to go this route for your matchups. So running a 2 of the Agumon feels really nice. We're also going to be introducing the new BT11 BlackWargreymon X Antibody. This one's really good because it has Reboot and it can force your opponent to hit this Digimon instead once per turn if they're attacking on their turn, which is pretty nice. Also on their turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, this Digimon with BlackWargreymon or X Antibody, as long as those cards are in the stack, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So another way to just be removal and defensive. So that's kind of where you can go aggro offensively with Agumon or defensive with BlackWargreymon X Antibody. So you get the best of both worlds here, and then you get with those inheritable effects, you can just really make it a bad time for your opponent having to deal with these cards. Moving on into the Tamers here, we're going to be talking about the 4 Yuya Kugas. The reason why we're running 4 of in this one is because there's going to be matchups where Tamers are going to get deleted. So being able to find this card and having multiple on field kind of just make sure that you're protected in case they do end up popping your Tamer. It's a 2 to 3 memory setter. When this Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name, you can suspend this Tamer to give it 2000 buff until the end of your opponent's turn. And if it's Digivolve with the same level, it's not affected by the effects of your opponent's option cards until the end of your opponent's turn. So if you're going into that swinging insecurity, this is like your Delicate Plan card on top of it, which kind of makes it good that we don't need Delicate Plan anymore. You're welcome to adjust the ratio of how many Yuyas you want, but keep in mind that you will or may be going into matchups that get your Tamers popped. The next Tamer, we're running 3 of the Cool Boys. You might even be able to run 4 of if you find room to make a 4th Cool Boy. Cool Boy is just really strong for the reason that if you Digivolve on the same level, you get to gain 1, draw 1. Cool Boy is just, it's legendary. It is a 2-drop, so you do got to be careful with that because you can get those popped pretty easily. But nonetheless, Cool Boy is still very strong. And then for our option cards, we're going to be running 3 X Antibody cards from BT9. X Antibody is the key to this build, especially with the level 4 Greymon that we mentioned. It keeps you from dying or being deleted by just removing this X Antibody off of that Digimon. So that's your protection piece, and then you can tuck this in whenever and then warp evo into the X Antibody in case you need to on your attack. Next up, we're going to be talking about the 1 of Hades Force. Hades Force is really strong because it's red and black, and we're going to be having a lot of red and black cards in this build, so it shouldn't be too hard to play in case you need to play it from your hand. It's a really good card to get played in security because it can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, which is the kind of Digimon that you want to delete anyways for the most part. And then this is able to delete Tamers and Digimon, and then you can swing with your Greymon, which is just nuts. This is why it's important to kind of run more Yuyas than you feel comfortable with, because these cards like Hades Force might be something people really play a lot, and they might play more than just 1. Like in our build, we're just playing 1. You can ratio this to 2, which might be even a better way to go, but trying out the 1 of, seeing how it plays to see if it works, feels nice for right now. And our last card that we're going to be talking about is the 1 of Congo. Congo is sometimes just that card you use to play that just keeps you alive to being able to win next turn. That's the deck profile. That's all we've got for you for BlackWargreymon X Antibody. I think this is going to be a really popular deck that people are going to be playing, so definitely keep in mind about the mirror matches and watch out for that, because that probably is going to happen a lot. If you guys like this video, be sure to give this a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more deck profiles, more insight, and let me know in the comment section your thoughts and feedback for this build, what you like, what you think works, what you think doesn't work. All that helps us all become better players at the end of the day. So I do appreciate all of you guys taking the time to write all that feedback. Thank you guys for watching. I will catch you all in the next profile video.